Today I'll be discussing Pudd'nhead Wilson by Mark Twain. In the novel, we see the story of a slave, Roxy, making a life-changing decision for everyone. Roxy is owned by Percy, and she is a slave, about to be a mom. Being a slave is hard enough, but adding a child to the mix messes everything up. During this time, if a female slave had a child, it automatically became property of their master, and when old enough, became a slave. Right from the start, readers see Roxy's external struggles becoming her internal conflicts as well. Roxy has what seems an impossible decision to make. She can A, have her child and let it immediately become a slave, or B, take some drastic measure to save her child but live not being able to claim her true child. We see that Roxy makes the choice to save her child by switching her baby boy with her master's baby boy. This is why some may see this as the right choice. Roxy was a mistreated slave that was about to ultimately lose her child to slavery. She saw an opportunity to give her child a better life, and she took it. Although what she did was against the law, the whole fact of slavery was evil and shouldn't have happened anyways, so Roxy wouldn't have had to make this decision if slavery wasn't there in the first place. Here is why some might see it as the wrong choice. Roxy ultimately decided that her own child's life meant more than her master's child's life, and that really wasn't her choice to make. She also ultimately gave her son away and would have to pretend his entire life that she wasn't his mom. She also took this child of her master and his chance of a good life away from him. This is where I come in. This is my opinion versus the novel's. Based on the ending of the novel, it seems as though karma decided that Roxy was wrong for what she did. Her true son ended up being an awful person, while the master's true son ended up having a pretty decent life. So, when Roxy gave her son away, he became Tom, the master's son. And he went wild. He stole, he did very evil things. He even stooped his low to steal from his family and sell Roxy down the river, which was one of her worst fears. The master's son that became Chambers actually had a pretty decent life. He didn't really have any conflict except for the fact that he was a slave. I ride the fence with the choice that Roxy made. I see where she saw this as her last chance. As she was a mother, she was being a mama bear, and she was protecting her son. But she was basically saying that her son's life was more valuable than her master's son's life, which I don't think is right, because her master's son didn't choose the family he was being born into. So it wasn't ultimately his fault that he was becoming a slave owner. I don't think it was fair for him to be taken away from his family like that. I believe that Roxy should have not switched the babies. I think that she should have realized the bad circumstances that she was in and just raised her son to the best of her ability. I think that things would have worked out best in the end. Tom, her son that ended up being Tom, might not have ended up being so bad if he would have had a mother that loved him and showed him right from wrong. I believe ultimately that Roxy made the wrong decision, even though I can see how it seemed to be her only decision.